Hi guys, it's your girl Miss Cash. My name is Ashanti Cash, and this is Miss Cash Knows It All. And today I will be telling you guys a review on the book Night that I previously read by Elie Wiesel. Gotcha. Okay. So I'm going to read a quote from the book. There was no floor or roof and four walls. Does that sound like a happy walk through the park type of book? Well, if you think so, you're wrong. And that's the total opposite of what this book is. So, some pros I would say about this book is that you learn about history, your history. It shows connections of family. It teaches some lessons. It's good for older children, like through high school. I wouldn't recommend for the younger grades. Shows how certain people were treated back then and brings out emotions for some. Some cons of this book. A lot of killing in this book. Very sad and depressing. A lot of violence. The cover really doesn't show what the book is about. Would I recommend this book? Yes and no. I wouldn't recommend this book for I wouldn't recommend for younger children because of the simple fact of the language, the violence, and they wouldn't be able to understand as much as a high schooler or an older adult will, because you have to be very mature to read this book, because there's a lot of mature things in this book, like the language and stuff that's going on in the book. And I feel like if you're older, then you could understand it better than you would if you were a younger viewer, a younger reader, because even for me being in high school and me being 15, I still didn't understand certain parts of the book that were like, you know. And I would recommend this book for older children because it's very like a mature type of book, and it'll teach you about the Holocaust if you didn't know about it as much as you did before, because I know we supposed to came in learning about it in 8th or like close to or around. I did, but many people probably didn't know. And if you didn't know, like a certain time, you could read this book and you could find out what like the Jews were going through, because it's a Jewish book. That's why they put a lot of Jewish things on the front. But I still feel like it don't describe what the book is really about. Just because it's about Jews don't mean that it's like completely have to be, you know, the cover just full. Yeah. Summary of the book. I'm sorry guys, This book is about a boy named Elie who is a Jew, and there was a problem with that. Like basically, if you were a Jew, you had problems, period. There was a lot of challenges and difficulties that really tested his strength, mind, and body. He had to keep him and his father alive. That's what he was working towards, keeping him and his father alive. Because you can see throughout the story, the connection changes with him and his father. And I don't want to give you too much, but it changed between him and his father because of the simple fact of like the situation that they were in. You feel me? So that's also, it's like a high points, but it's like a lot of low points too, because I feel like, and it's just my opinion, I feel like that it was a lot of low points, such as say it was sad, because it was just a lot of like everything was everywhere, because everybody gonna have their own opinion, and this is mine. And I feel like it was very emotional. Like you could get like emotional from reading this, and like it's like you connect with the book, because this is an autobiography, so you would feel some type of way that somebody really went through this, like went through what you're reading. Like somebody really named is Elie, somebody really going through everything that he had to go through, him, his father, all the people that was with him. What I liked about this book that the author did very well was he knew how to get your attention, like in certain parts of the book, and he knew not to straggle. He wasn't too long-winded. The book is only 9 chapters, so. And each chapter, basically towards the beginning, they're kind of like long chapters, like 5 to 10 pages at the max. And like towards the end, he only did like 3 to 2 pages on chapter. And I feel like he did really good with his spacing, and he or she did really good with the spacing of the chapters and how much he put in each chapter, or how much he put in each chapter. And I also feel like he really knew how to pull on your heartstrings and make you keep reading, because the type of book it is, it's like, you know, when they have cliffhangers and you want to find out what happened in the next chapter, that make you keep reading, keep reading, keep reading. That's what I feel like he did. And overall, I would give this book, if I had to give a rating, 3 out of 5 stars. And I will tell you why I said that. I said 3 out of 5 stars because I feel like, yes, indeed, this story is good for learning and woo woo woo, but it's not just a book that you just pick up and be like, oh, let me just read this because I have time. It's not really like that, because it's basically, if you need to learn something about that time period, you'll pick up this book and be like, oh, let me read this, because let me read this and figure out what's going on in that time period. You're not really going to be like, oh, I don't have nothing to read. Let me pick up this book. Let me see what this is about. You're going to pick it up and put it down probably, because it is very depressing or very sad. And I would say this isn't for the weak-hearted. It's not a weak-hearted type book. Like, if you cry easily, put the book down. But if you want to read it, I mean, you can read it. It's not a bad read. It's just, for me, it's just a 3 out of 5. And I also would say it teaches you a good lesson about a true survivor. Because when I tell you, if you read this book, you're going to know the definition of a survivor. Especially for Ellie. Like, I'm telling you, he's the strongest kid I ever read about. And I'm 15, and I've read a lot of books. Like, a lot of books. And he's about far the strongest one I have ever read about so far. So that's also something to sit right there on your mind. But that's it. This your girl, Miss Cash, from Miss Cash Knows It All. And yeah, bye. And I just reviewed the book Night. That's Night, all capitals. If you want to go get this book, go to your local library, or you can look online and get this book. I think they have hard and soft copies, but you can get both, or one or the other. And bye.